with random faces really made it a home away from home and beneficial not only to my faith but my overall mental health in general. And I think the prime example of this, to give you an idea of why this worship is so fun and how helpful it was for me, was our Lent worship, is what sticks out specifically in our minds. I went to a lot of other worship services the week of Lent and at the beginning of Lent, and for a lot of other groups that I was in, and they had all the focus on very much of repenting, being free of sin, and all those things. And they've been hard by that language, that's can take a toll. So I gave the crossing. And the message that I took away from that week was that for Lent, you should give up not loving yourself, and you should focus more on loving yourself because God created you. So loving and accepting yourself is a way of loving Him. And it was such a life-changing way to think about it. And that's what I love most about the crossing and worship services, is the way that they kind of rewrite those more harmful narratives in your mind. And it's just focused on this practical idea of faith which is based completely in love. And it's definitely been so instrumental in making improve my confidence in my faith, but also just overall as a person. And very thankful that this space exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. It's been a joy to have you with us. Weekly Bible Studies has been one of my favorite groups throughout the years. Students are very interested in understanding Scripture through a more progressive reading. And to my surprise, we had a very dedicated group of students meeting weekly on Zoom during the 2021 school year when we did everything online. I was so thrilled that they kept coming back even though we were on Zoom. And it continues into this year, only now we're in person. We are blessed with curious, open-minded, and open-hearted students willing to learn and grow biblically and spiritually. And one of these is Mara, who joined the Bible study on Zoom for her freshman year and now has continued into her sophomore year as we're meeting in person. So Mara, thank you for sharing with us.
Hi everybody, my name is Mara and I'm a sophomore here at UW this year. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how I found the crossing through Bible study and kind of what it meant in my life, and it certainly made a big impact on me, much bigger than I was expecting. So our story kind of starts back in the middle of the pandemic when we were all stuck in our rooms during quarantine, and all I had to entertain myself besides Netflix was my little children's picture book. So me being 18 years old, I still picked it up and read it front to back, and it really kind of kick-started my faith journey in a way that I wasn't expecting. That was something I really wanted to hold on to as I came into my freshman year.
Is the mic?
So,
It just as it goes. You just have to eat it.
Just have to be close session, and there was a crossing. So it had been something I could have wanted to organization. So I come from a United Methodist background. So progressive Christianity was something that was very important to me, something I was looking forward to. I also have a lot of very important role models in my life. I'm a part of the LGBT community. So I really needed to be a part of something that was inclusive to everybody and preach the love. And that was the crossing for me. So I decided, you know what, I'll give it a try. And now here I am, 2 years later, still going to Bible study every single week. I ended up getting so much more out of Bible study than I originally thought. So I came to hear a few stories, learn how to be a better Christian ally, and I ended up with an entire community around me. I found that the crossing and the Bible study group was an incredibly inclusive group. As a student of color on campus, it's very often, whether I'm in class or just when I'm in a meeting, that I'm pretty much the only person who looks like me there, the only person who's my background there. And that can be kind of disheartening sometimes, but coming into the crossing, I've never once had to feel out of place or like I never once didn't feel welcome, and especially in the Bible study program. I found that it was a safe space to ask questions. Whenever we start a meeting, or ask, so what's your story? I promise, I don't think I raised my hand once. I've done that, yeah, and that was something I was very insecure about going into. I was afraid to ask questions. I didn't want to, be made fun of the teams, but I found that it was okay to ask questions, and I learned so much and really grew in my faith journey as a result of that. I also found that the Bible study group was such a caring and supportive community. My second semester, freshman year, my dad, she got diagnosed with a pretty nasty autoimmune disease, and I was really scared And every week I log into my virtual Bible study. And all these people that I never even met face to face, so they check on me, to make sure I was okay. They didn't just offer prayers, they actually did it. And even now that, my family's doing so much better, that feeling never went away. And that's something that's going to stick with me, and I hope I can stick with me in my future. So thanks to this Bible study group, I found that I've been able to see the world in a different way. I've been able to see my own religion in a different way and take these lessons into my own life and my own mindset as I go throughout my life. So if any of you students in here who haven't checked out Bible study, I 10 out of 10 recommend going next semester in here. So I want to say a special thanks to everyone who's a part of that and coming into my life, whether directly or indirectly. I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Mona always has wonderful questions and great insights to share, so she's been a great gift to the Bible study. So the Crossing is also fortunate to collaborate with Press House to hold groups for LGBTQ plus students. The group Queerly Beloved is hosted at Press House, and Queer Students of Faith is hosted here at the Crossing. As a progressive Christian ministry, the Crossing affirms that LGBTQ plus students are beloved and have unique perspectives to offer our community. These groups provide space for students to find affinity with others and more deeply explore queer faith traditions. Camber has been active in these groups for years and will actually be taking lead of our ministry in that as a student leader next year. So we're really excited to have Camber on board and see how our ministry continues with her leadership. So we invite you, Camber, to share about your experience.
Hello, my name is Amber. I'm in my third year here at UW, and I've been with the Crossing all 3 years. I wandered in here as a lost freshman, and I have not looked back. And why I haven't looked back is because I finally found somewhere that encompassed my entire identity. I could be an openly gay individual, and I could be a Christian individual, and both parts of myself were loved and accepted, and it just felt so good and so right. And then I started joining Queer Students of Faith and Queerly Beloved, and that's where it just totally blossomed for me. I had a community of people that you wouldn't think exists, gay Christians, but we do, and it was so amazing to have people that were so different from me, but have this understanding. And at Queerly Beloved, we would just be talking about whatever, but it was just the fact that we were all on the same plane, and it was something I couldn't find anywhere else. And then Queer Students of Faith here at the Crossing was where I could actually delve into what it meant to be a gay Christian, what it meant to take my experiences and relate that to the Bible, and how I could learn from my own experiences as a gay Christian, and to accept myself, love myself as a Christian again, which was something that I'd struggled with in the past. I felt like I could be part of myself in one group and part of myself in another group. And to be my whole self in something was just so valuable and so special to me. And that's why I'll be leading it next year. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
So a special thanks to our students for sharing about some of their experiences from this previous year. As you can tell, our Crossing programming is just the heart and soul of what we do. However, it is not everything that the Crossing is involved with, and not just worship or Christians of faith or our Bible studies. We also wanted to share a little bit with you about the food programming that the Crossing has been getting involved in. And I should have started by saying hello. I'm Jen Lesh. I'm on the board of directors for the Crossing. I'm also a Crossing alumna and a former Miss Wade. Is my microphone not picking up?
So starting again, my name is Jen Blesh. I'm on the board of directors for the Crossing, and I'm also a Crossing alumna and a former intern at the Crossing, so my history runs deep. I'm here tonight to share a little bit about the food programming that the Crossing has gotten involved with in the last couple of years. While the programs that we just shared about speak to the core of our theology, the ministry of the Crossing has become increasingly tied to food justice and service issues. Over the years, the Crossing has become more aware of how much food insecurity exists amongst college students, and it seems kind of surprising because they're in college, but it's actually a widely pervasive issue. So with this awareness, the Crossing has really felt called to nourish students not only spiritually, but also physically as well, as we know that the mind and the body and the spirit are intimately tied to one another. So we have built partnerships with 3 student organizations over the years that have enabled us not only to strengthen our campus connections, but also feed hundreds of students every year. So first of all, the Crossing has engaged with food justice by participating with the UW Frozen Meals Program back in 2019. The Frozen Meals Program was piloted by the UW Dining Hall to package, freeze, and distribute recovered food from the dining hall that would otherwise be thrown away. Our freezer is in the main entrance, and it is open to any student who self-identifies as food insecure or who just wants a nutritious meal. When the building was closed during the pandemic, Crossing volunteers handed out frozen meals to students in a COVID-safe manner. And since 2019, more than 11,000 meals have been distributed to students through the Crossing. And I just want to give special recognition to Maddie and Liz, who are sitting at my table tonight, for their role in the Frozen Meals Program. The second food justice group we'd like to acknowledge is Slow Food UW. Now, many of you have heard of Slow Food UW. They have been in the Crossing's basement ever since I was a student. And they are a student-run, nonprofit organization dedicated to providing clean, fair, and good food and local food at an affordable price to students. Slow Food started in 2007 by a handful of student leaders and has now since grown to 40 to 50 interns, just interns, not even people who come to their meals. And they serve 2 community meals a week at the Crossing basement, and they serve 1 meal in South Madison. Their food is always sourced from local farmers as best as possible and can be made free to students who are facing food insecurity through their Pay It Forward program. We're grateful to house them in our space, and we look forward to them continuing to promote the right to food, equity, sustainability, culture, and community. And I believe we have 2 Slow Food representatives here today, Angelina and Emma. Go ahead and stand up. Next, the Crossing is also partnered with, here's the third one, the Food Recovery Network, a student organization that recovers leftover food from the dining halls and brings it to the Crossing 2 days a week to serve free hot meals to the UW community. The Crossing partners with Badger volunteers to run the Friday recoveries, while Food Recovery Network volunteers can run Tuesday meals. This year, they've recovered over 6,000 pounds of food. Food Recovery Network's mission is to fight food waste and fight food insecurity at the same time, which I personally think is a very laudable effort. So they make use of the resources that are available to us and make it available to students. Morgan Marlin is one of our food recovery leaders, and we'll hear more about her later tonight. She writes that the crossing is one of those indispensable resources, providing the kitchen space and unlimited crock pots necessary to heat up the food. Finally, we are also grateful to our new food justice intern, Mariah, who I believe was not able to join us tonight, but who started with the crossing this year. Mariah is taking an in-depth look at the crossing role in food justice and how it is a part of our mission with students. They are also looking at ways the crossing can do more in the food justice realm as we partner with other organizations on campus. Mariah is asking questions like, what systems can create an equitable ecosystem of food justice? And what is our unique role in that process? So we're so excited to be working with Mariah and to be so closely involved with the Frozen Meals Program, with Food Recovery Network, and with Slow Food GW. So let's give one more round of applause to our students. All right, it is my job to announce that it is time for dessert, but we're obviously still getting food out. So I just wanted to let you know that there is a dessert table in the back. We're going to take 10 minutes just to eat, to have conversation. I invite you, if you think you might want dessert, just go ahead and grab it. It's available. But obviously, you're still, some of you are still waiting for your meal to come out. So we're just going to, as Mallory said earlier, we're going to go with the flow, we're going to pivot, and we're just going to enjoy our meal throughout the course of the night. So we'll be back with you in 10 minutes. Enjoy conversation at your tables, and if you have a student, make sure to ask them some questions about their crossing experience.
Just don't engage in the program, so you just actually reach out to one of the advising number and get want to expand, and then she added another kind of person. I love it. Which one is that? Person? Smallest
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to.
No, then I don't need to tell you anything about it. I just learned that. She's like, oh, I know. And her friend's like, she's a performer. And I'm like, I don't need to tell you about the mic then.
Did you get food? Okay.
I hate to interrupt your good conversation around your tables, but we have a lot more students we want to make sure you get to hear from this evening. As you continue enjoying dinner, please feel free to do what you need to do to finish your meal, to go grab a dessert, get some coffee or hot tea or lemonade. Like at our worship service, we tell students to be who you need to be and be comfortable in our space. So we invite you to do that as well. I have the privilege of beginning our student award section. We have so many students with so many different gifts and skills and passion for different things. And you caught a glimpse of a few of those students a minute ago. You're going to get a glimpse of a few more. And we wanted to make sure we spent some time honoring a few students. We would give an award to every single student if we could. We don't have time for that. But tonight we are awarding a few students who have really stepped into leadership in different ways at the Crossing. So it's my privilege to introduce Anna Walther, who is a longtime Crossing student. I think Anna came to our Ash Wednesday service my first year here. So Anna and I are about the same tenure here at the Crossing. So Anna, I think, is one of those students who has spanned all of the different facets of the Crossing. She'll share a little bit more about her time here, but she was very integral in getting a lot of the food justice work started, and not just started, but finding sustainable ways to ensure that through the transitions of semesters, we can continue our work with the Food Recovery Network and the Frozen Meal Program. Has also played a really important role that is not glamorous at all, but is vital in keeping up our registered student organization status, going to the student board, like, what do they call it, the student safety or rules meeting. Anything that goes into making sure we can stay a student board, Anna has stayed on top of that. And Anna is currently our building resident and constantly has a big smile on her face, a positive attitude, and is just really wants to make the crossing a space that is welcoming and hospitable for as many students as possible. So it's my honor, Anna, you can come on up to award you with the Outstanding Commitment to the Crossing Award. And I will share the awards that we are giving these students is a tangible thing. It's a candle with the reminder that they are the light of the world. Thank you, Anna. So Anna, know that you have helped shine the light, God's light, to students for many years. So congratulations. Hi everyone, can you hear okay? Okay. If you ever can't, just wave your hands back. Yes, so I did not know about this. It's not my idea. I was told like last week that I could get an award, but not any details about what it would be. So I was just asking my parents if it worked, which I'll share now. And there's a lot I can say here, having been here for 4 years. I mean, I can talk about, I've put a lot of hours of service in, participated in a lot of the amazing programs that many others have spoken to already tonight. And I can also tell you what it's like to live in a church, but I think it speaks like a little more authentically to my experience to kind of describe what the crossing has seen me. So since I first walked through the doors on Ash Wednesday of 2018, I think it was, I've evolved from a confused but well-meaning 19-year-old to someone who knows who she is and why she's here. The crossing is where I've experienced some of the most beautiful and also the most terrible parts of my life. It's seen me break away from an unhealthy relationship and navigate academic pressure during a global pandemic. And for better or for worse, my blood, sweat, and tears are in this building. Where I've worked, I've chased mental and spiritual health, and I've nursed physical wounds that are not always mine, considering Carla broke her knee down the street about 2 years ago, and Paul got second-degree burns on his foot last year. And at the same time, the crossing is a featured player in some of the highlights of my life so far. As I fell in love, got into graduate school, moved from Badger volunteer to team leader to program creator, and even more importantly, it gave me space to reconnect with my spirituality and feel, for maybe the first time since I came to UW, that I finally belong somewhere. And while everything changed within and around me, the crossing stayed constant in my life. And yes, I now have funny anecdotes about bats in this very sanctuary and running around the hall trying to figure out where the water on the floor is coming from this time and why. And who else can say that they did the first year of their PhD program at a table in the church on the second floor and check it out if you want. But better yet, I found one of those rare places and critically important places that I hope you all have too, where I feel loved. Not just for what I do, or what I bring, or even what I look like, but just for who I am. And that's enough about me. So anyways, I think the better reason why I'm up here too is I'm going to be presenting the next student awards, which are going to some incredible student leaders that I've had the pleasure of kind of working with on and off throughout the year, but shown just put in so many hours into making this ministry a place. So the first award we'd like to administer is the Outstanding Commitment to Public Service Award. This award was created in recognition of a student leader who has shown incredible commitment to sustainability, social justice, and public service over the past year. This student is, drum roll please, Morgan Sullivan! So Morgan is one of the student leaders in the food recovery
Recovery Network. She's a senior studying community and environmental sociology, close to my heart, because that's what I studied too when I was in undergrad. And she's gone consistently above and beyond to promote sustainability and food justice. In spring 2021, when classes were still online, Morgan served as one of the co-directors distributing recovered dining hall food to students in a COVID-safe manner. And then she helped us transition from like a to-go based food delivery system to hot meals when in-person classes resumed. Since then, she's been instrumental to our weekly meals, organizing volunteers, ensuring food is delivered from the dining hall to the crossing, serving food safely, and especially this, cleaning up afterwards. Most days, she's the first to arrive and the last to leave, working diligently to make sure everything is running smoothly. While many of our student leaders bless us with their commitment to food justice, Morgan also brings a passion for sustainability, having worked at UW Sustainability Office and allowing that expertise to inform her leadership and decision making. And she's also given back to the crossing in other ways, as if that wasn't enough, helping us decorate for Christmas, doing last minute childcare for visiting musicians who came during worship, helping us organize our space. And she puts in so many hours each week to make food waste and serve 3 hot meals to hundreds of students, many of whom, like generally said, are dealing with food insecurity. Morgan is kind, conscientious, compassionate, warm, respectful, and so much fun to have around. And I echo the sentiments that one of our staff members who said, she is a joy to work with, and we're lucky to have her. So come on up here, Morgan. Trying to figure this out. What we're supposed to say. All right, can you hear me? I may have to. Sorry, I had to prepare a speech or else I'd be up here for way too long. Hi, everyone. I'm incredibly honored to receive this award tonight. I would love to extend this recognition of commitment of public service to all of the students working on sustainability initiatives, especially the ones that are here today. The Crossing plays an indispensable role in advancing food justice on campus and in the Madison community, as it houses the frozen meals program, Slow Food, and FRM. These 3 orgs work to ensure that everyone has consistent access to healthy, affordable food. As Anna mentioned, at UW, I studied community and environmental sociology, environmental studies, and food systems. In my classes, I learned that food has historically been used as a form of control of marginalized communities, but what that also means is that it can be used as a tool of empowerment. I found myself inspired by all the food justice movements that I learned about in class, but felt disconnected because I wasn't seeing them in action. I was desperate to join a movement and be a part of that positive change. Little did I know that I didn't have to look any further than the Crossing. I got involved in both Slow Food and Food Recovery Network, where I got to meet passionate people who were dedicated to food justice work on campus. Being a part of these orgs opened my eyes to the prevalence of food insecurity on our campus, as over 100 people came to our first Slow Food meal of the year. Since FRN has returned to in-person meals, it seems as if more and more people come to the meals every week. We just had one of our last meals of the semester, and the line was almost out the door. 60 people came, and luckily we had more than enough food to feed everyone. Food insecurity is much more prevalent on college campuses than people know. Money is just one of the many constraints for students to access food. Balancing classes, homework, and sometimes multiple jobs leaves many students with little time to go grocery shopping or cook at home. FRN takes advantage of university resources to solve this issue. The dining halls produce colossal amounts of food waste every day. FRN serves hundreds of pounds of food every week, and at the crossing this semester alone, we've recovered 4,000 pounds of food. As Anna shared, we did around 6,000 pounds with just Food Recovery Network alone.
Food waste is a huge issue, but not taken seriously by the university. That being said, we couldn't have accomplished anything this year without the support from the Crossing. We are beyond grateful for the use of this space. Not only does the Crossing provide an accessible venue, but they also instill a loving and welcoming community. Through my work with FRN and Slow Food, and coming here just to study, the Crossing has become my second home. Again, I'd like to thank the Crossing for all of the support you provide us, and I also want to provide a special shout out to Mallory, who's been super supportive of me and our organization this entire time. We're going to miss you so much. We know that you'll be going into good hands, so. Thank you for showcasing the work of these food organizations. I'm so proud to be a part of them and to be a part of the Crossing community. Thanks.
All right. So the next awards we would like to give out highlight excellence in student leadership to the Crossing. Every year we have a team of student leaders, and this year especially, we're fortunate to have incredible leadership team. All 3 students got connected to the Crossing during 2020 when our programming was completely online. They were all in our first year focus groups and are now sophomore students and integral to our program. So the first student that we would like to recognize is Elizabeth Burkhalter. So Lizzie is our Director of Service and Programming intern. She grew up United Methodist and is actually a Sunday school teacher at First United Methodist Church. Lizzie has been involved with the Crossing in several ways. Last year, I met her when she volunteered to help me hand out frozen meals, and let me say, she was definitely my most reliable volunteer. This year, she's bringing new service opportunities to the Crossing, while also lending her talents playing violin and piano in our worship team. She gave a powerful message earlier this year that she wrote about the parable of the mustard seed, which I think really clearly illustrated her passion for serving others and promoting social justice. Lizzie has a beautiful soul, and I'm pleased to offer her this award. So come on up, Lizzie. Thank you, Carla. So by tech. Also, I did not know I was going to do it today, so that's pretty epic. Okay. When I first came to college in 2020, the last thing I expected to be doing was staying here Tuesday. I'd always been a Christian, and I've always had strong faith. But after being a member of the church for my first 18 years of life, I thought it was time for a change. I had a very different view around my faith than I do today. I'd always thought that my Christianity is just another part of me, like my hair, height, and size. I thought I was Christian because I was given that label when I was born. It was just another part of who I was. And during that time, I wanted to explore other parts of who I was. I thought that this would be found in the glamorized college lifestyle that I've looked forward to since I was in high school. It didn't take me long to realize that I had my priorities a little bit mixed up. In trying to divulge myself in this scene, I found that I was constantly being let down by my high expectations. The superficial friendships that I made were far less fulfilling than I could have imagined. I couldn't understand why these experiences weren't enjoyable like they were to my friends, and would not accept the terrifying truth that I just don't like partying that much. I felt lonely, lost, and straight from who I wanted to be. Then on January 22nd, 2021, I got a campus-wide email from this place called The Crossing.
The email began with the words, belong, explore, become. These words drew me in, and I've now seen them played out in my life. I saw that they had a service opportunity. I hadn't volunteered since high school, and my mother thought that giving back might help me pull me out of the slump that I was in. This was the most impactful decision that I had made in college. At first, I only had the intention of volunteering. And then I met Gala and Mallory. I spent 2 hours with one of them every Friday for the rest of the semester, handing out frozen meals to students, and for the first time, truly realizing what it meant to be Christian. During that time, I was struggling in so many areas in my life, and the crossing was able to support me in ways that my best friends wouldn't or just couldn't. The crossing showed me that I wasn't a Christian because I was given that label. I was a Christian because I stand for what being a Christian means. The crossing showed me how to find happiness and fulfillment and service to others. Most importantly, the crossing showed me that it was okay not to fall victim to the peer pressure of UW-Madison party culture. The world is always telling us to go, go, go. That there's something, that we're going to somehow feel more whole once we've thought or experienced a certain thing. The crossing has shown me that I can feel whole because God made me that way. It was okay that I found more interest in worship planning than bar hopping. It was okay not to feel cool all the time. The crossing provided me with a place and community in which I could wholeheartedly be myself and still feel like I belonged. A feeling that I don't know I've ever really felt. Since that time, I would say that my experience in college has been greatly defined by my involvement in the church, and I can thank the crossing for so many of the opportunities that I have received. I've been able to directly impact the lives of others in a positive way and contribute to the welcoming atmosphere that saved me my freshman year of college. I know that many students on campus regard the crossing in the same way that I do. I've seen students come to the crossing as a place to study in between classes and end up sticking around because they find comfort, community, and support knowing that their identity will in no way affect the way that they are treated at the crossing. I hope that's why they keep coming back and not just the free students. Thank you. In all seriousness, I have never found an organization so invested in the well-being of their students. I truly believe there's something special going on here, and I can't even express how excited it is to be a part of it. So the next two students that I'll be honoring will not be speaking, one because is unfortunately out sick, and the other one will be giving us something even better. I'll let you all find out what that is soon. And so without further ado, I'll talk about the third student we'd like to award tonight, who is Will Brady. He's on the leadership team and is the director of community outreach. Will? Will is a lifelong member of the United Church of Christ and is currently connected to First Congregational. Will is a house fellow this year at Big Bradley Home, which is on the Lakeshore area, and we feel incredibly fortunate that he chooses to spend his limited free time volunteering with us at the crossing to make our building as hospitable as possible. He's also brought his passion about leadership training to the crossing and has brought his talents to the leadership team this year. For example, he led a trip to the farmers market for students last fall, and then he also helped lead a student park day. We are really excited to have Will as part of our community and are looking forward to his continued service at the crossing. He will also be living upstairs once I move out. Yeah. Congratulations, Will. And the fourth and final students that we'd like to award tonight is Ray. Ray is our Director of Worship Arts and Intern of Hospitality. They are often the first person students see when they enter the building to study, and we really appreciate them bringing a friendly face to all of our guests. In addition to being kind and cheerful, Ray is also musically gifted. They have brought their talents for singing and playing ukulele, guitar, and piano, triple threat, to our Wednesday night worship services. Our staff notes that Ray has made an impact on our ministry by bringing several creative elements into our worship services. The results have been beautiful, profound, and emotionally provocative. So I'd like to invite Ray up to actually share some of their music with us.
Hey, can everyone hear me okay? All right, awesome. I wrote this song a few days ago, and you are the first crowd to hear it. It's called You're Enough. When you let yourself get too close, it's easy to forget what's right. And so you start to build up walls. It feels like it will always be night. Wandering through an endless forest, no stars left in the sky. In the darkness, lost the path, no light left in your eyes. I know there's someone you'd rather be, but you don't have to be strong for me. You are here, and that's enough. The lies still reside in the back of your mind, but this time you're not alone. You are loved for who you are, for who you are. So don't lose sight of who you are. Forgiven, it's not the end. You're a light, you're shining bright. I know you can be better again. There's a way out of the forest, and so many stars in the sky. You can forge a new path, rekindle the light in your eyes. I know there's someone you'd rather be, but you don't have to be strong for me. You are here, and that's enough. The lies still reside in the back of your mind, but this time you're not alone. You are loved for who you are, for who you are. Oh, you're enough, you're enough. I know there's someone you'd rather be, but you don't have to be strong for me. You are here, and that's enough. The light still reside in the back of your mind, but this time you're not alone. You are loved for who you are, for who you are. All right, one more applause for them. So I think we have all learned one thing tonight, and that is we are rich in talented and passionate students, and we are microphone poor. So we'll make a note of that for next year, and make sure that we've got our microphones working. Although, as a special note, it means that
don't use these pulpits, which I think is great. So amen to that. We're going to move on with our evening. This is a very special part of the Crossing Gala. It has been a long-standing tradition here at the Crossing to award one individual or organization the Cecil Findlay Award. As you might guess, this award is in honor of a man named Cecil Findlay. And I had the great privilege to speak with Cecil's wife, Helen, who is here in the room tonight. I've not had a chance to say hello to you personally, Helen, so thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to learn a little bit more about Cecil and his contributions to the Crossing. Cecil was a Methodist pastor and a campus minister. As Helen told me, he had a particularly big heart for students, and he worked in campus ministry in both the Philippines and Kansas, two very different places. He offered support and supervision to campus ministers across the country through his work in the Methodist tradition. He taught at Southwestern College, where he loved to teach religion to students. Cecil and Helen were there at the very beginning of the Crossing's existence. With the help of Cecil's leadership, Madison Campus Ministry was founded. Both the Findlays have continued to be incredibly supportive of the Crossing throughout its 21 years, and Helen has been attending the galas ever since I was a Crossing student about a decade ago. In Cecil's honor, the Cecil Findlay Award is given to someone or someones who has demonstrated remarkable and outstanding service to the community. Previous recipients of the award have been known for their work with peace building, with spiritual leadership, and with public witness. The work can be local or international, but it is always courageous, prophetic, and profoundly compassionate work. We are thrilled to be able to come together for this gala this year and present another worthy recipient with the Cecil Findlay Award. So I invite my friend and colleague, Corey, to come forward and share about this year's recipient.
Well, I think that works. There we go. Yes, my name is Corey. I'm an alumnus of the Crossing and I serve on the board. And we are indeed honored to present this Gala Cecil Findlay Award to the Wisconsin Council of Churches. So I'd like to invite up Executive Director Reverend Carrie Parker and the Curator of Content and Ecumenical Innovation Coordinator, Reverend Brianna Milane. The WCC continues to provide an important voice for ecumenical ministries. Their ongoing work of creating faithful educational resources, engaging in work for societal transformation, and fostering meaningful interfaith dialogue continues to enrich Wisconsin in actual material ways that you can see. Some of their projects include collaborating with other organizations through Awaken Day, connecting refugees to needed resources, and educating on the intersection between democracy and faith. Today, we particularly want to highlight the excellent work that has been done and continues to be done, offering resources on COVID-19. The WCC has served as a lighthouse for churches navigating these difficult waters, offering a perspective grounded in caution and data. The WCC's information has been trustworthy, with a sound outlook based on what they feel is truthful, offering hope along with gentle sharing of what needs to be heard even when the facts are indeed difficult to hear. This is prophecy, and for this important work and everything else they do, they embody what the Cecil Findlay Award is all about. So indeed, thank you, Wisconsin Council of Churches.
Thank you so much, friends, for this honor.
thank you, Helen, for your part in this, for being here to witness this and carry this forward. Thank you, friends of the crossing. Thank you, Brianna, for being our certificate holder.
I said I was gonna look pretty.
How does a sleepy ecumenical organization, an institution of institutions, go from being very quiet to carrying the gold standard for COVID protections in the United States of America for churches? Look at that man. It's been a few years now. It comes because we listen. We listen hard. We listen for where the pain is. We pay attention to what's going on in the world. And then we wonder together. We ask questions. And we lean on our networks and we say, who do we know? If we have learned one thing about ministry these past few years, it's the importance of the phrase, we are not in this alone. We say it to ourselves all the time for reassurance when the work gets hard. We say it to our colleagues all the time when they are struggling. You're not in this alone. Can we pray with you? Can we pray for you? What resources do you need? Can we connect you to somebody who's already trying that, who's tried that, somewhere where that's actually working? You know what? We've heard of that before. You're not in this alone. This is the promise of the church, right? It's a community. It's found family. It's people who have your back. It's people who aren't afraid to say that science and faith go together. It's people who aren't afraid to say you can take your faith into the public square. It's people who aren't afraid to say be your whole self when you're worshiping God. And bring your whole self to everything you do. We're here tonight to accept this award in part because a few years ago, we listened to the Holy Spirit and we said we wanted to make courage and justice and holy imagination guideposts for our vision, for our work, for what we do in the Wisconsin Council of Churches. So we listen and we work together and we pay attention to the science of the spirit and the community and all these things. And above all, we try and be human beings together and live by the law of love. That's what we got, folks. Thank you so much.
Can I hear an amen? Amen. Now I know where we can get another preacher if we need it. So, hi, good evening. My name is Sue Dixon. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Vice President of the Crossing Board of Directors. I'm delighted to be here tonight so we can celebrate being together and online as a group to celebrate the ministry of the Crossing. My role tonight is to introduce the staff and to recognize them. As I do so, I'm going to ask each staff member to stand so you can put a face with a name. And I'll start with Paul Schultz. Paul is our part-time property manager, and Paul's responsible for caring for this building and the grounds. No small job. In addition to weekly maintenance of the boiler, which I hear is a really exciting job. One of Paul's gifts is the ability to fix things around the building without calling on outside help. In fact, I've been told that Paul designs and prints 3D replacement parts for parts that are broken and worn down. For example, parts for the outdoor hose, door frames, vacuum cleaners, and weed whackers. Taking care of an old building can be a challenge, right? And it also provides for some adventures, which Anna mentioned earlier, like chasing a bat around the sanctuary for 45 minutes so that we could get it safely outdoors. Thanks for that, Paul. Paul will be with us on staff through the summer, and then he is going full-time with his job at Medline and moving to a new apartment with Anna, so I'm understanding. Paul, we thank God for your ministry of keeping our building and grounds functioning and welcoming for all the students who study, eat, learn, and worship here. Please join me in thanking Paul. Now I want to introduce you to Benjamin Coakley. Benjamin, where are you? I lost you. Standing in the back. Benjamin fills the role of both our worship director and administrator. They help to design and participate in weekly worship. They recruit and lead worship musicians, and they manage the technology in worship, which can be a challenge, as we learned tonight. During the COVID pandemic, Benjamin's technology knowledge was especially helpful as they created online worship experiences, helped with Zoom meetings, and created videos to share with congregations. Benjamin also leads the Queer Students of Faith group that meets monthly to explore queer theology. Benjamin's administrative responsibilities, so on top of all that stuff, Benjamin's administrative responsibilities include hospitality to students, recording donations, creating social media posts, supporting board members like me, and many other things. I want to personally thank Benjamin for helping me to learn the donor database and how to use it. Outside of the crossing, Benjamin's part of a band named Cat and the Hurricane, and is pursuing an MA in Religious Studies at Chicago Theological Seminary. Benjamin, we thank God for your ministry here at the Crossing. Please join me. So earlier tonight, we met our executive director, Mallory Yates. Mallory, would you come up here, please? I'm told you're supposed to stand in the middle here. So Mallory's been leading the Crossing for almost 5 years, and I've worked closely with her during the 2 years that I've been on the board. During that time, I've noticed that one of Mallory's strengths is resilience. Life during the COVID pandemic has been difficult for most of us. Making decisions on how to protect ourselves and our health, and how to protect our loved ones' health wasn't easy. So now add students to the list. It wasn't easy for Mallory to make decisions about how to support and love and protect our students at the crossing. Mallory's attitude was always positive. She was open to ideas and feedback. She asked for help when she needed it. She and the team created ways to reach out to the students remotely. And you heard tonight that some of the most active students were the freshmen who were in a freshman group together remotely. And they found friendship, connection, and support remotely when they were feeling isolated and lonely. Tonight you've heard stories about how the crossing has impacted all these students' lives. And Mallory, we thank God for your resilience and your 5 years of ministry here at the crossing. Many of you are aware that Mallory is going to be leaving us. She's being called to ministry of youth, young adult, and justice ministries at First United Methodist Church. So those of you at First United Methodist Church, let's hear it. While we're sad that you'll be leaving, we are really excited for you to go on to your next adventure, your next calling. And we have a couple gifts for you. So the board's theme this year is planting seeds of abundance. So we have a small plant for you. The orange one there is yours. May it serve as a reminder of the seeds that you have planted here at the crossing and the seeds you're going to continue to plant at First United Methodist Church. The second gift is a prayer shawl. Mike. Oh, thank you, the box. We don't want to pull this off. So we have a prayer shawl here, and as I wrap this around you, and as you wrap it around you in the future, I hope you will remember and feel God's love, and feel the love of the crossing students, and staff, and board members. Thank God for Mallory's 5 years of ministry. Yes. Thank you very much. Being called to ministry is a really funny thing. Some of you in this room can relate to that. I was not intending to transition out of the crossing after this almost 5 years of ministry, but sometimes God nudges us in directions that we had no idea were coming. And when an opportunity was presented to do ministry in a new way that still very much affirms my call to ministry with youth and young adults, I had to listen. I had to weigh a lot of considerations, but I didn't do it alone with people, and I definitely did that discernment with God. And be discerning that it is time to transition to way of doing ministry is very bittersweet, especially as I spend this evening with you all and hear our wonderful students, and suddenly all of the headaches of the building or the fundraising that make jobs difficult vanish, because there's so much love, there's so much passion in the work that we do. So I want to thank all of you for your support. I'm not going far. I'm going down the road, and if you're not at First United Methodist, you can go pick a bone with all those people over at those tables for taking me away. But I'll just be down the road and get to be on the flip side of supporting campus ministry and making sure that that congregation continues to support the crossing in many ways, including financially. And I'm excited to continue working with the younger generations of people that need desperately committed pastors and lay people and
adults in their lives to lift them up and support them and grow with them. So thank you all very much.
So we have one more. Probably most of you in this room know Carla Schmidt. Yeah? Carla, would you come up here? There she is. So we are celebrating Carla's 20th year with the Crossing. Sorry, I did the wrong year. So for 20 years, Carla has led programming, worship, pastoral care, and mentoring for students. I've heard alumni over the years describe the Crossing, and I heard it tonight, as their home away from home. And I believe that's a large part due to Carla's welcoming and compassionate leadership. If the board needs to contact alumni for a survey, or for fundraising, or for a position on the board, or for a project team, who do we go to? Carla. She always has a list of people for us to contact because she knows these students. She knows them well, she stays in contact after they graduate, and like a proud parent, she shares their accomplishments with the board. Carla, we thank God for your ministry. As I've said before, the board's theme this year is planting seeds of abundance. So we have the purple plant over there for you. And as you water this plant, I hope that you'll remember all the seeds that you've planted over the years to help students grow. And we have a second gift for you. And you could open it quickly. I'm sure that it's easy to open. Yes, it's easy to open. So this is a piece of artwork that we hope you will hang either here in your office or at home. And as you hang it and look at it, please remember that you have inspired students. You've inspired students to love God, to love themselves, and to love their neighbors. And we are so thankful for your years of service here at the Crossing and the ministry you've provided. Thank you so much.
I was forewarned that this was going to happen, so I'm grateful because I'm not so good on my feet, and I have a few notes here. Thank you to the board and all of you for this recognition, and to you, Sue. I am deeply honored, and my heart is so warm tonight as I listen to the students. Every year that happens as I listen to students, and I know stories behind their stories, and I know other students' stories, so it's just it's such a gift to be able to be here and to be there for them in their lives and to see where they go. It's really exciting. When I began as campus minister 21 years ago, I began in the interim position in January, and then in July was hired for the full-time position. I remember in January, I had no idea how to do campus ministry, and I was actually quite terrified. But I jumped in and I started meeting the few students they had in ministry at that point, very few. And then the Holy Spirit led the students to this ministry, some very awesome students. And over the years, I've learned and continue to learn how to do campus ministry, but I never expected to be here this long. So over the years, wonderful students have come and moved on. Some of these are even on our board of directors, as we just met Jen tonight. Years ago, I realized that while I was getting older, students always seem to stay the same age. But they've always been gracious to me as I've grown older. I remember Jack just said every year, "Oh, you're 39 this year again, Carmen, right?" Yes, we'll stay 39. I've loved working with the students through the crossing and the Wayland housing. I feel hopeful for our world because I know the high quality of young people who are becoming leaders in our world through many disciplines, including ministry. Campus ministry is about constant change in membership and in interests and passions of the students, so we keep evolving. Campus ministry is also about being there for students who are in constant change. Author Henry Nouwen writes that during their college years, students are in continual fluctuation. He calls them like homeless practically. They're changing residence and jobs maybe every year and having new schedules every semester. And as we heard tonight, there's much food insecurity. They need to have places, people, and faith that gives them groundedness, a sense of belonging, and a place where they can be real about all their needs and struggles and joys and know that they are loved and not graded as they are in the rest of the university community. And that's what I hope the Crossing offers them. That's what God's grace offers all of us. Years ago, I read an article that said campus ministry at its best is a space for grace. And that has stayed with me as foundational for what I want to create in this ministry for students. A space where students encounter the grace and the love of God in what can be a very demanding and competitive academic life, as well as all the other challenges they face. It's also been a gift in this ministry to get to know members of our supporting churches as you deliver meals to the students, and to get to know not just United Church of Christ from Petersburg, I'm a minister of, but also American Baptist and United Methodist churches and peoples. Thank you for recognizing me today, and I also want to thank all the students that are here today and all throughout all the years that I've been blessed to work with. I also want to acknowledge all the wonderful board members over the years, some who are here today and keep coming back and supporting us at this event and in other ways. It's wonderful. And the executive directors who I've learned so much from, Doug and Manny and Mallory. We're going to miss you, Mallory, but so grateful for you. Finally, thank you to all the supporters of the Crossing. We couldn't offer this space for grace without your support. Thank you.
All right, I'm back, and again, I get to be the bearer of bad tech news. So we originally planned to have a video message directly from our board president, Edmund Brantley, but we discovered this evening that the audio is just going to be far too quiet for you to hear. So I'm going to read what he had prepared instead. That's Edmund. He shared that he's very much here with us in spirit, and he and his wife are joining us online tonight. So I'm going to share his words on his behalf. On behalf of the Crossing's Board of Directors, I would like to thank you all for joining us today to celebrate the Crossing and the big and small ways this progressive campus ministry makes the world a better place through its students, its staff, and its partners. We host the Gala not only to celebrate our students, but also to show them that there is a community of support around them. Everyone in this room is a testament to the network of people who care about students and about the spiritual resources that they have to belong, explore, and become. Some of you have been longtime supporters and have given of your time, talents, or financial resources. Thank you. Some of you are new friends. Welcome. The Crossing invites us all to discover old and new ways that we can all belong, explore, and become. This year alone, over 75 students have participated in our many programs like Worship Plus Dinner, small groups, and Queer Students of Faith, which you heard about earlier today. We've hosted around 125 students per week in our space for studying, connecting, and resting amidst the stress of student life. We've also fed around 150 students per week through the Food Recovery Network and the Frozen Meal Program, not including the hundreds of students and community members that our longtime friends from Slow Food UW host in our building. And in the last 2 years, we have learned new ways for the Crossing to be a spiritual home for many, both in our beautiful building and online for our friends and former students around the globe. The Crossing would not be the Crossing without the widespread, but largely behind the scenes, community that supports this mission. We are grateful to the churches and the people that have invested in campus ministry and the transformative impact that the Crossing continues to have on students' lives. If you are, like many of us, inspired by the stories that you have heard tonight, you too can be part of the mission. Your support may be financial, or maybe you're feeling excited to get involved with your hands and feet. Either way, there is a flyer at your table that lists the various ways you can support the Crossing and its students. I invite you to find them in the center and take one home with you. You can make a one-time gift to the Crossing or a monthly gift. Whether it's only $1 or more, no gift is too small. You can provide a meal, as many of folks in here have already done. You can volunteer, or you can engage with our online communities. Ultimately, the goal of tonight is connection. We are grateful that despite 2 years of hardship that we all continue to experience, we are, in fact, still a community that can get together for the sake of doing good. If you haven't already, I encourage you to reach out to someone new or to introduce yourself to a student if you haven't yet tonight. Even for those who are joining us online, like my family and I, you might reach out by email, social media, or phone and connect with someone you've met at the Crossing tonight. Building relationships is what tonight is all about. So please enjoy the rest of your evening, and I hope more of us can be in person together next year. So thank you, Edmund, for those words.
Thank you, Edmund. Thank you, Jen. One of the unintended benefits that come out of COVID is the ability to have board members who are not just local people. We have board members who are currently in other states, and one board member who's currently spending a year with his partner in Turkey and is still able to be an active board member. So as talk of this board of directors doing this background work came up, I do want to make sure we take a minute to acknowledge who is on our board of directors currently. So if you are currently serving on the Crossings board, if you're in this room, would you take a moment to stand so we can honor you? If you have ever served on the Crossings board, I'm just curious now, if you've ever served on the Crossings board, would you also stand so we can see the circle of support that way? I cannot stress enough how vital it is for a nonprofit, a campus ministry like The Crossing to have a board of directors who is doing the framework, making it possible for myself and Carla and Paul and Benjamin to do the work we need to do, but also to do all of the wonderful things that students have gotten to do that you've heard from. So thank you for your role, and that's a huge way of supporting the crossing. So thank you very much. As Edmund said, being here tonight is a huge support for us. If you are inspired to find other ways to support the work of the crossing, that sheet has a few ideas on there, but if you'd like to get more information or talk to someone, talk to a board member who just stood, or a staff member, or even a student, to see if there are ways you might be able to continue to be a partner with the crossing. We are almost about to close out the evening, but it would be a shame if we did not hear some more music from our very talented students. Lizzie and Ray have served very faithfully with Benjamin in our worship band, and so they have prepared some music for us as we continue in the evening and prepare to go out into the world. I think that's one of my favorite worship songs that we've done here at the Crossing. Thank you both so much. What a night. Oh my goodness. I am inspired by these students all over again. And I'm one of the lucky ones that gets to see them every day. We can't leave tonight without giving one more big thank you to Jen, who, yeah, go ahead. Jen is on our board of directors, alumni, former staff person, has done it all, but is the person on the board currently who said, we need to make the gala happen again, and I'll be the one to do it, and we wouldn't be here tonight without all of the work you've put in. So thank you for your time and energy. Thank you all for being here tonight. I would love to send us all out with a quick prayer. God, we thank you so much again for the chance to be together, for the invitation to be a part of something incredible here on campus with students, to be a part of making space, making room, and making your love available to every single student as we celebrate who they are, as you've made them and continue to call them to be authentically. As we go from this place, keep us safe as we head home, and remind us each that we are so deeply loved by you. So deeply loved by you. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful night. Go home safe. We learned, I forgot, tonight is Mifflin, so watch out for all the students walking around. We don't want to harm anybody on accident who's outside. So let's extend the love of the Crossing to the way that we leave campus tonight. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your help. You try to make it all work.